In Malcom on January 23rd, 2011. We're celebrating Mama's birthday a few days late. She's 87 years old. She's checking on a reservation tonight, I think at Royce Hall. Hi, Mom. Sorry. What'd you say, Mom?
Does the wallet wear out your pants?
Yeah, occasionally, as you can see. So we're here in the lovely living room here at Malcom.
It's become a destination point in Los Angeles.
Why don't you point out a few things? And you could even sit here some and point out stuff.
Well, we moved here in 1961.
Right.
I wasn't thrilled with the house. It was very old-fashioned and fuddy-duddy. There were heavy draperies on all the windows, heavy draperies. And carpeting was not attractive. It was...
Mom, would you mind sitting right over there?
Well, I'm facing the light.
Okay, well, I'll sit here. Yeah, we have light behind you, but yeah, you were saying?
And it didn't have any sparkle in the house. Oh, I thought the outside was pretty, the grounds on the outside. And we were a little tired of looking at houses. So your father, when he saw this, he was really interested. He said, "I'm ready to buy it right now."
What interested him so much? The proximity to UCLA?
I think that was a big factor. Was
he working here yet then, or was he hoping to work here?
I don't think he had started yet. Or, I'm not sure about that.
I remember hearing that he hadn't started teaching it, but maybe it was in the works or something.
He said when we move in, it doesn't have to be so old-fashioned and dowdy. That was a word I used. Yeah. It was very clean, and that interested me because the previous house we moved into on
Berry Avenue?
On Berry Avenue was an immaculate house, and how lucky could you be, because usually houses you move into are dilapidated. This wasn't at all dilapidated, but it was pretty unsparkling, if there is such a word.
Tell me about some of the things on the wall in here.
Well, in here there's a variety. Chagall seems to dominate on that far wall over there. We bought those lithographs.
Of the lithographs of the three on the far left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought those from Michael Hittleman. He's still on Fairfax and Beverly Drive. He still has a gallery there.
Is that Chagall? Is that Anne Frank?
Anne Frank, and we bought that in Westwood long before we moved into this house.
The one to the right of it?
And that's by I can't think of his name right now.
Not Irving Stone.
No, the other painter we know, son-in-law of the Frank Wileys.
Oh,
Romero.
Oh, Frank Romero?
Frank Romero did that. We just bought it in the last year. He bought some property in the Provence area in France, and I think he's building a house there, or he's planning to live there half the year, and he really is doing that. And so that's a memento from his first year in the Provence. What's behind that chair? That's another Chagall that we bought at the same time we bought those three from Michael Hittleman. He still sells Chagalls, I think.
Mom, tell me about this big piece on that wall.
Well, a few years ago we went to an exhibit at the Craft and Folk Art Museum, and they had the history of wine was their theme for the exhibit. And we walked up it was on the second floor, we walked up the stairs, and on the landing of the stairs was this picture. And I sort of gasped when I saw it. And I thought, that is really a picture I'd like to own. Well, the artist did not have it for sale. Other things in the gallery for sale were interesting, but this was my favorite. And we asked, since Milt was on the board of the Craft and Folk Art Museum at that time, we asked the gallery people if they think the woman artist would be interested in selling. They said they didn't know, but they didn't want to convince her. And I said, well, it wouldn't hurt to ask her. And we did. And she named a high price for it. And
$150?
no, she wanted cash.
Well, $3,000?
No, it was more like 9 or 10. Milt will remember exactly. And one morning she came over, and we'd gone to the bank that morning and had all this money in cash and bought the picture from her. Her name was Graziella de Returno. And she grew up on a farm, and evidently they made wines there.
Mom, now we got this famous piece in the corner there. Tell us about that one.
Well, this is a Picasso vase. And your dad and I were in Valerie, where Picasso had his ceramic studio.
No, we were all there at that time, I believe. I kind of remember being at a studio, but anyway, yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe it was a different trip, yeah.
And we asked if there was anything for sale by Picasso, and he was alive at that time. It was about 1969 or something like that. And we bought that. They wanted $90 for it.
Really?
And I didn't know if we should spend that much, but we finally did.
How much do you think it's worth now?
It's worth a lot more than $90.
So, now did they turn out a number of these? Did he actually touch this? Or?
I think so. I think this is a number like 25 or 30 of these. He has a lot of vases or vases with a face on it. This is a distinctive face. And I like the face. And at that time you could buy Picassos, and they were affordable. And I would have bought a lot more if I had known what was going to happen with the prices. Well, we told the woman we had come to this gallery in Valerie, like 15, 20 years before, and she said, well, I have a, catalog raisonné, which lists everything that the artist has done. If you want to see what you have, and you can find it in the catalog raisonné, it's probably a good one. So we found this picture, and she said, well, that one be worth at least $25,000 now.
Wow.
Picasso had died, I think, in the meantime. Otherwise, it wouldn't have jumped up so high in price. So we were living in Geneva at the time. What years were we living in Geneva?
65 or so.
Yeah. That's so...
When we bought it, we were living in Geneva when you bought it?
Mm-hmm.
Should we go over here now? Why don't you come around this way, Mom?
I like those two lamps. Those are from Grandma Nimmer.
Sawyer Street.
They're Czechoslovakian lamps.
Really?
And I don't know how they survived all these children all these years.
Are these couches also from Sawyer Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I have a...
And the furniture was made by the builder of their house. Bird, and he made
he made that piece too?
Yeah, that's a solid piece of wood. He made a table to match this. This will have to be refinished when you kids inherit it.
Hopefully it's no time soon.
What?
Hopefully it's no time soon.
Well, not too long. I mean, how long can you go on?
So, Mom, how about the clock? By the way, did Bird make this table too?
No,
not
that was from Milt's house.
Oh,
It was the dining room table, and he cut it down.
Oh, really? Milt did?
Low. I don't know if he did it.
How about this clock here?
The clock was bought in Geneva when we lived there, and it was called a Neuchâteloise clock. It was a traditional old clock in Switzerland.
Yeah.
And
can you face me, kind of? Just turn.
Oh, we love that clock.
I love it too. I remember when you were in the market for it, and that Geneva was the place for clocks. So you did some serious shopping, as I recall, to find the right clock. And you were thrilled to get it. Did we have it in our apartment in Geneva, in Genève?
I don't know if we unboxed it.
Yeah, I don't remember. And now tell me some of the artwork up here.
Well, these are all Greek and Roman. I found this necklace just a few weeks ago. I don't know, I was looking for something and I found that. And
By the way, today's January 23rd, 2011. Yeah.
So it must have been in 2011 I found that piece, and I thought, well, I'll use her as a headpiece for my sculpture. Nice. But I didn't remember where that necklace came from, so I showed it to Becca. She said, oh, I know where that came from. That used to be on the sweater I gave you.
Really?
So it must be a cheapy little thing, but I sort of liked it on her.
That's nice.
The little one next to it is a gem, I think. It's Greek. I don't think it's Roman.
Where'd you get it?
I got it at an auction gallery in Beverly Hills. Superior Stamp.
Yeah.
On Olympic and Beverly Drive. I went to an auction by myself.
Really?
I really didn't know how you're supposed to behave at an auction.
You can have a seat again.
And I really needed more professional help in bidding, because I had bid on about 4 things there. I thought they went so cheap, as the auctioneer had a big supply of things he wanted to auction off, and he was just interested in going through them, and there were not many people bidding. There were about 20 people in the audience, most of them dealers, so they know what they want when they come. So he was just racing through the catalog, and I had trouble keeping up with him. He said number this, and it was several pages beyond where I was, so I realized I was having trouble. Well, I did bid on 4 things that I thought were just so reasonable. And when I came home, and when I got them, came home, I realized that I hadn't gotten any of the 4 pieces that I bid on. I hesitated too long, and they were already 5 or 6 articles beyond me, so I didn't get what I wanted. And I was very disappointed, and I said, I'm going to take them back and tell them what my mistake was.
Take what back? Because you got something?
Take back the pieces that I had bid on.
Oh, but I thought you said you didn't get a chance to bid on, not the original ones you wanted.
I wasn't fast enough to keep up with them. They were all professionals. I was in there like a little lamb in...
But you did bid on some that you got?
I bid on some, and I brought them home, but when I got home, I realized these weren't any of the things I thought I was getting. So I decided, and that's the piece that I went hoping to buy. The man, since I had bought things there at auction before, he was very receptive. This time I went with Milt, because he's a good bargainer, and told him my story. Mm-hmm. And he said, oh yeah, you have to be a professional, keep up with the items. So he said, I might be interested in taking them back, which was amazing to me, that a professional auction house would take things back that you bought in good faith and they sold in good faith. And Daddy said, no, it was Milt with me. He said, we'll bid on this piece, has it sold? And no, it hadn't sold. If it hadn't sold within a second, they put it back in the room and they'll try another auction. So Milt said, would you ask the owner, that was on consignment, would you ask the owner if he'd be willing to take cash for it right today? Give you a cash for that piece, which we really wanted, and we'd like you to take the others back. And that's what they did. The gallery owner called up the man, he was in New York, talked to him, and he came back and he said, I don't know how you could be so lucky, but he agreed. So I got the piece I wanted and returned the pieces I didn't want.
Tell me about the painting in the middle there.
That's Irving Bloch, a wonderful, wonderful, delicate painter that he is. We have.
Irving Bloch?
He is distantly related to us. I'm not sure you would say related.
Well, let's see. My grandfather, Frank Nimmer, his second wife was Irving Bloch's mother.
No, Irving Block's mother-in-law.
Oh, mother-in-law? Oh.
And Jill Block was his wife. And Violet was Frank's second wife.
Right, and Violet was Jill's mother?
Right.
And who was Violet married to before? Was she married to one of the Marx brothers?
No.
How were they?
Jill married. Her first marriage was to one of the sons of the Marx brothers.
Oh, I see. Is Irving's stuff worth much today, do you think?
I would think so, but I don't know.
I know you have a number of them around the house. He was, as I recall, a whimsical, warm, capable artist.
Oh, he went against what his contemporaries were doing in art. He was a traditionalist.
Oh, because he was a traditionalist?
And he worked with such a delicate hand. And the artists that were selling were the new breed of artists who, this was considered old-fashioned. And
was the new breed Royal Lichtenstein and that type of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Who else were there, the new breed?
Keenholz and Stella and Andy Warhol and all those new movements came out at the time in the 60s when Irving Block painted all the time in his own style. And the Ankrum Gallery, which was very famous in the development of Los Angeles as an art center.
Where was that gallery?
On La Cienega. Every first Monday of the month, they'd always have a walk. And you do?
Well, an art walk, you say?
Yeah.
There is an art walk downtown now. It's I'm not sure when, but yeah.
Yeah, I like to go to that.
Oh, huh.
So every birthday, that's what I wanted, an Irving Block painting. And it wasn't easy to get this. I gave one to Beckham Paul for an anniversary. It is so exquisite. It's a candelabra. Do you remember that?
I saw it recently at their house.
Yeah, isn't that a beauty?
Yeah.
I would have loved to have had something like that too. Well, I'm glad she has it. So, that's the story behind.
What else would you like to point out in the living room?
Well, this tall lady here,
Yeah.
she is, wish my memory were better. What was the Etruscan?
Uh-huh.
She came from the Etruscan period in what is now called Tuscany, and I don't know if she was unusual. There are many depictions of this woman, and it was the first one I got, and I loved her. And this man on the end who has a very sensuous face, Daddy bought that for me for my birthday, gave it to me, so I was very thrilled with that.
You bought that here in LA?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what period that is? That sculpture?
Oh, that's Etruscan too.
Uh-huh.
Most of these clay pieces are Etruscan.
Well, what period is Etruscan around?
It's around Florence, Tuscany.
No, but I mean, what period of history is it?
Oh,
First?
it was pre and contemporary with the Roman period. It could be 300 BC till 300 AD. I would hate to be quoted on that.
And the urns and the pots and the other cabinet, are those Etruscan too?
These are all Israeli artifacts, except for the bottom, which is American Indian.
Uh-huh. And did you get many of these in Israel?
Yeah, most of them. We got them at the time where you'd spend $20 and get a piece of Israeli pottery. Now what you would buy for $20 probably costs you $400 or $500. But the way I bought those pieces, I went to a junk shop in Israel.
In the old city?
No, it was on the outskirts of the old city. I was walking down the main street we always walked down when we went to the old city, that great big wide street. And I saw what looked like a junk shop. And I made a vow to myself that I'd come back here when I had some time. And a week later I went back, and he had all the, it was a dirty old shop, and he had all these pieces jumbled up, not displayed, but just all piled up. And I told him I wanted to buy something for my husband for his birthday. I wanted to buy him something old. I was thinking of 17th, 18th century, a sculpture. And he put that round one on the second shelf. He put that in my hand.
This one?
Yeah. He put that in my hand. He said, "You feel that? That's old." I said, "Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean by old?" He said, "You ever hear Abraham and David? That's from the Bible. That's what that is."
Really?
And I could hardly believe it.
So that's hundreds of years BC?
Yeah.
Really?
It's 5,000 years old.
Wow.
Well, when I brought them home, I bought about 4 or 5 pots, which I paid $10 or $15 for. I bought home 4 pots. I gave them to Dad, and he liked them. He liked the fact that they were old. And the Barzakai said, tourists are always buying that stuff. It's all fake. It's made by the Arabs now and put in the ground, and they mess it up and make it look old, but it isn't really old. And I said, well, this man did not lie to me, because this man was exactly like my father. He looked just like him, he talked like him, he acted like him, and he was, I considered him like my father. This man would never lie to me. I say, well, you can go home and tell your friends that what you think they are, but it isn't so. I made an arrangement to call up Ruth Hestron, who is the head of archaeological antiquities, and I showed them to her, and she said, "Oh, look, they look interesting. Where did you buy them?" I said, I bought them from Mr. Arcielli. And she said, if you bought them from Mr. Arcielli, I don't even have to look at them. They're what he said. He knows more about antiquities than I do. So I can assure you they're good. I mean, they're what you think they are. So, and she gave me the authority, which I didn't know I had to have. I was supposed to have a letter to say I could take them out. That was just at the time when Israel was beginning to understand that they had all these antiquities, which tourists were buying up.
Around 1970, probably. That's
Yeah.
when we were in Israel. Yeah.
In 60s, probably.
Well, the first time we went, I was on the kibbutz in Israel in 1970.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Well, it was probably that when we lived on, what was the street we lived on?
Not Michel Chauvet.
Yeah.
Well, that was Geneva.
What?
Michel Chauvet was Geneva. Yehuda Benjamin, or Rue Yehuda.
Oh, I'm mixing up my countries.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, all these things have a little history to it. It makes it so much more interesting.
Should we go into the dining room? It is 5 o'clock.
I think we ought to. Did Melissa call up and
I'm
see
not
if
sure.
the
Maybe I
restaurant?
should check.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's enough for today.
Okay, good. Thank you.